It's finally happening. Today marks the beginning of the advanced access to Dune Awakening, for the pre-order slaves at least. Like me. Which also means I can finally talk about the fact that I've been playing this game a lot in closed beta, and I have a lot to say about it. So this video will be a genuine Frank Herbert's Dune fans review and impressions of the game I've been waiting years for. We talk about story, gameplay, lore, bugs, and whether Dune Awakening is worth your time and money. With that said, this game is brand new, so I don't want to spoil the experience for you, so I'll be vague when it comes to the main story. I won't share the biggest surprises of late and endgame areas, so you can experience the game for yourself. And the footage you will see will be early to mid-game areas captured today, as well as during the large-scale beta weekend from a few weeks ago. But I digress, so hit the subscribe button for plenty of guides, walkthroughs and everything Dune on this brand new channel of mine, and let's get into Awakening. This is a survival MMO set in an alternate Dune timeline, where Paul Atreides was never born and the Fremen are nearly extinct. It's a bold take, but does it live up to the hype? Let's start with story and immersion. Dune Awakening can be really immersive. The graphics are great, Arrakis feels alive, with its endless dunes and rocky outcrops, constant sandworm activity with their own AI. The survival elements like managing hydration, avoiding sandworms, and crafting are well balanced and can make you feel like you're in Frank Herbert's universe. Purifying blood for water, or harvesting spice with compactors is peak Dune experience. But there are cracks. Automatic rifles feel out of place in this world of las guns and shields. They just don't scream Dune. And being a male Bene Gesserit, it's cool for customization, but it breaks the lore quite a bit, which can happen a lot in this game. Regarding immersive combat, a lot of the early to mid-game can feel like a generic shooter sometimes, but once you get to steel-based items and above, is where it starts to get really interesting. You unlock poison dart sniper rifles, drill shots, which is a rifle shooting bullets literally drilling through shields. You get flamethrowers, weaponized ornithopters, and the combat, which is a significant portion of the gameplay, does actually start to feel like Dune, which is a bit hard to believe if you look at the footage the dev team released about early game, for example. As for the story, it's okay but feels unfinished. You're in an alternate timeline searching for the near-extinct Fremen, which is a cool premise. Most story missions are cinematic tutorials with some standout moments in later areas. You are mostly completing trials, where you snort up some spice, learn some new gameplay mechanic, while ominous NPCs are dumping exposition on you. Overall, it's not that engaging. There's little roleplay potential. Your choice of being Atreides or Harkonnen, for example, doesn't impact much, and meaningful choices are sparse. For a Dune fan, it's serviceable but doesn't capture the political or philosophical depth of the books or films. I have to say, however, that as of the last few patches in closed beta, the story is far from over. In fact, it actually starts to get really interesting near the end of the available story missions. I won't spoil it for you, but there's an important spot in a late game area called the Odam, where I was genuinely awestruck by scenery and story ramifications, and started to get invested in the story for the first time after like 80 hours in the game. Probably not a great thing when I say it like that, but that part made me want to get back to the game a lot. Now let's get into combat a bit more. It's a mixed bag. The early game is rough, generic third-person shooter vibes with limited weapon variety and repetitive enemies. You're stuck with basic guns for the first 15 to 20 hours, and it feels like a slog. Melee is a bit clunky and build options are slim. But hold on, things get way better. Once you unlock weapons like the drill shot, flamethrowers, snipers, and swords, combat becomes dynamic. You find unique schematics and get weapons with special abilities that can change your gameplay completely. Add in skills, abilities, and suspensor belts, and you can create fun builds combining melee, ranged, and mobility. Late game combat is a blast, but you have to endure the grind to get there. I won't lie to you, you can make a character in this game that levitates like Sardaukars while throwing nades, lighting people on fire and blasting darts from mid-air, then close the gap and parry everyone, and finish off scavengers with impressive sword skills. You can do that, it just might take dozens of hours to actually get there. As for the difficulty, this will vary from player to player, but I found the game to be quite easy. If you approach combat scenarios with weapons and equipment made of materials from the area, you'll be alright. There are a few enemy types that can be more challenging depending on your build, like late game flamethrower or heavies, but if you have some experience with third-person shooters, you are already chilling. And if you have experience with games that have some simple parry systems like this one, we are more than okay, even if we are talking Assassin's Creed Valhalla or Jedi Fallen Order. The game has these so-called Imperial testing stations all over the map. They provide by far the toughest combat challenges, with mini-bosses, lots of enemies. But I found them some of the most enjoyable parts of the game, and the loot is insanely good as well in these stations. So if you're looking for a challenge, go to one of these testing stations, with weapons and armor that's maybe not up to date for the area, and you will face an actual challenge. Combat ties into skills, which is where Dune Awakening really shines. The skill system is a highlight that complements combat and playstyle as well. You can unlock every class, Swordmaster, Trooper, Bene Gesserit, Planetologist, Mentat, and mix their skills for insane build variety. My favorite was Swordmaster for melee, Trooper for grapple hooks and grenades, Planetologist for survival skills, and Bene Gesserit for crowd control. The Mentat turret is a lifesaver early on as well. In fact, it does trivialize some of the early game. It's a really strong class. Skills feel impactful, and you upgrade them by doing quests for trainers, which keeps you engaged in the world. You can start mixing classes early, so you're not logged into one playstyle. It's incredibly well designed for a survival MMO. If you're not that into combat, there are plenty of skills upping your experience with farming, mining, and building as well. If you don't like shooting, you can make a really good melee build, with utilities and poison traps as well. Lots of different approaches and playstyles are rewarded. Skills also tie into traversal, which is, well, most of the game. Yes, you do quests, you mine, you fight, but generally you will spend most of your time in this game getting from point A to point B, back and forth, climbing rocks, driving and flying. Traversal starts very slow. Early on you are trudging on foot, and it's tedious. Skills like grapple hook and suspensor belts can help, but the real game changer is crafting a sand bike. It makes moving across Arrakis faster and more fun. Mid-game though, sand bike travel does get old when you're crossing massive distances, especially in tricky areas like the Hagar Rift, where you can fall into caves and lose 20 minutes climbing out. But then you get an ornithopter and wow, it's a game changer. Ornithopters are fast, smooth, and make the game feel like a whole new experience. Sandbikes are great for land, buggies are awesome for farming, but ornithopters steal the show completely. You finally don't have to spend 20 minutes driving between your base, a trade post and points of interest, avoiding holes and worms to pick up and deliver items or get rewards for your contracts over and over again. You still do that, but now in a really well designed, satisfying ornithopter. This is again something you unlock a bit late, deep into the game, that makes your experience infinitely more fun. You just have to grind it out, which takes me to crafting, building and farming. Crafting itself is straightforward and well balanced. As you progress, you gather better materials to start crafting stronger gear, which feels rewarding. Each new area comes with new weapons, new materials, new ways to play. The grind for an ornithopter is a bit much, tons of later game materials, but as I said, it's worth it. Building is a sandbox dream. You can create awesome bases with tons of customization options and multiple style sets. Whether you're building a desert outpost or a fortified bunker, it's a fun creative experience that fits the survival vibe perfectly. You can co-op build with others. You can build guild headquarters. The more land you occupy, the more taxes you have to pay. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but even taxes are kind of fun in this game. They really fit Dune lore, and you get to visit either Arrakeen or Harko village to pay your due to the Imperium. And those two areas are really well designed hub areas. You have the Villain of Dune movie inspired look of Arrakeen, with tons of merchants and trainers and NPCs. It's lively. But you also have Harko village, which is like the opposite. It's a dark, black market-like hub area that's ominous and filled with screams of slaves and scheming NPCs. It's really good. Early on it may feel like a lot to pay thousands of Solaris to get to these areas, but I highly recommend you do it soon into your playthrough, especially if you enjoy the Dune movies. And those Solaris are not a lot once you get going in the game. Survival is next, and it's where Dune Awakening nails the Dune aesthetic. Hydration is critical, you're constantly taking blood from your enemies, purifying it into water, storing water in cisterns, you're using wind traps, you drink from the small leaves of the minimal vegetation. It's really well done, very much in line with Frank Herbert's vision of Arrakis. Water is woven into crafting too, which makes water feel as valuable as it is in the books. You need it for clothes, weapons, vehicles, and all. Spice harvesting is equally cool, starting with compactors and scaling to harvesters. It's exciting, as harvesting on open sand will get you some of the most memorable sandworm encounters. It's rewarding as well, as the materials you craft with spice are valuable, and make spice feel like a true treasure. These mechanics are engaging without being overwhelming, and it's where Awakening shines the best in my opinion. The map is another standout. It's split into 6 interconnected areas, each with unique vibes. Brighter dunes, dry rocky zones, or irradiated wastelands. Open sand areas force you to dodge sandworms, which have their own AI and feel genuinely threatening sometimes. Rocky areas are perfect for quests, building, and farming. Outside the shield wall, you get the classic Dune experience. Vast deserts, bigger worms, and spice fields galore. It's a beautifully crafted world. Each main area has their own identity and resources, so the game makes you travel between them all the time, which makes your experience engaging. There's variety, while still feeling like one world. It's absolutely huge as well, and the outside open desert is constantly changing with sandstorms. There's some genius ideas here from the devs to keep the game from becoming stale. While the game is great, it's not perfect, so let's talk about the bugs. As of the beta's end, Dune Awakening is still buggy. Glitchy interactions, wonky cutscenes, rubber banding, and getting stuck in doorways or ceilings, it's unpolished. And charging €70 for a deluxe edition of an unfinished game feels steep. Funcom needs to iron these out before the full launch to justify the price. I can't count how many times I had game-breaking bugs, resulting in me dying and having to retrace my body. But keep in mind, it was a closed beta for a reason. The game has come a long way, and it's not a Cyberpunk on PS4 situation. There are issues, most of them aren't the end of the world, and will be fixed most likely in the first few weeks. Overall, Dune Awakening is a fantastic game, if you push through the first 15 to 20 hours, and I know that's a lot to ask. The early game is slow, repetitive, and sometimes boring a bit, with weak combat and traversal. But once you unlock multiple classes, ornithopters, and unique weapons, it becomes an incredible experience. The survival mechanics, world design, and build variety are top-notch, especially for Dune fans like me. As someone who prefers first-person shooters and Souls games over MMOs, I was surprised by just how much I enjoyed it. But the buggy state and steep price are concerns. If Funcom polishes it and keeps players engaged with DLCs, this could be something special. The question is, will enough players grind through the early slog to get to the good stuff? I hope so. I genuinely recommend you give this game a shot, and if you are an avid Dune enjoyer like me, it's a no-brainer. Don't expect spotless lore accuracy. Don't expect to meet Paul Atreides in-game. Manage your expectations and you will not be disappointed. But what do you think about Dune Awakening? Are you hyped or hesitant? You can expect guides, tips and tricks, lore-accurate gameplay, and much more on this brand new channel. And this wraps up my hands-on impressions about the game without getting too much into spoiler territory. So thanks for watching, subscribe and see you soon.